Caitlin Clark's the new it. If you don't have a long ball, talking about the 26, 30 feet, if you ain't doing the Steph Curry, if you ain't got none of that long ball in your game, yeah, you're going to be behind.
She's doing stuff we've never seen before. Never seen nobody do that on a consistent basis. There's a lot of girls in WNBA that have done it in spurts, but, you know, that game I'm watching y'all in the Final Four, I'm like, damn, like, and I was a hater because, you know, I'm down. She was like, she's not going to hit that shot, and bam. Like,
anyone following basketball knows that Caitlin Clark is a supernova chong, and how we view the women's game. NBA legends icons who know the game inside and out have been left in awe of her brilliance. The excitement surrounding the WNBA has reached new heights thanks to Caitlin's play and popularity. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The greatest of them all, Michael Jordan, has finally broken his silence. MJ's comments about Caitlin are game changer, and his praise for her speaks volumes. Stay tuned, because what Jordan had to say is nothing short of extraordinary. NBA legend Rick Barry didn't hold back when it came to defending Caitlin Clark. In a powerful statement, Barry made it clear that the constant hate Caitlin has faced from certain WNBA players is nothing but jealousy and fear of her undeniable talent. His words hit hard, putting those critics right in their place. What Barry had to say is something every Caitlin Clark doubter needs to hear, because it shows exactly why she deserves all the respect she's earned.
It's reprehensible what they're allowing some of these players to. Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time for doing that.
WNBA great George Gervin also stepped forward to defend Caitlin Clark, and his words carried serious weight. Gervin didn't hesitate to call out the disrespect, making it clear that Caitlin's talent should be celebrated, not criticized or torn apart. His statement immediately grabbed attention, sending a strong message to everyone who doubts her. According to Gervin, Caitlin's greatness isn't temporary, it's here to stay. And when a legend speaks up like this, it shows that even the biggest icons of the game recognize the impact she's making. Get ready to hear Gervin's powerful defense.
The value that she's bringing for all of them. She bringing, they flying private planes now. They weren't flying private before she came. They on major networks now. They weren't doing that. See, she remind me of Tiger Woods for golf.
Yeah. Guys who don't have massive media exposure are often the ones most willing to share their uncensored opinions. That's why we'll start with former NBA player Jeff Teague, who isn't constantly in the spotlight after retirement. Teague was a solid starting point guard for much of his 12-year NBA career. He earned one NBA All-Star selection and even won an NBA championship ring. However, he was never considered a major media favorite or a highly marketable star. Now that he's retired, Teague has felt free to openly criticize the WNBA for how it treated Caitlin Clark when she entered the league with an already massive fan base.
They played this all wrong, bro.
Terribly, bro.
They was supposed to gas this shit. This is why people don't watch this shit when y'all leave college. Women's sports, because y'all hating on the best thing that's going.
While his delivery may come across as raw, the main point he's making is actually very reasonable. After years of heated debate about the gender pay gap in sports and many unsuccessful attempts to increase the visibility of the WNBA, Caitlin Clark's arrival has finally started to move things forward. Despite that, she still received a rough welcome from some around the league. Jeff Teague simply pointed out that this kind of attitude can hurt the league financially, while also making it clear that he believes Caitlin deserves far better treatment from both her peers and league officials. Speaking of criticism and controversy, Boston Celtics legend Paul Pierce also played a role in the media attention surrounding Clark earlier in the season. The 10-time NBA All-Star publicly questioned Caitlin Clark at the beginning, and even sparked a racial controversy with comments about the Indiana Fever's standout rookie. Since then, Pierce has tried to distance himself from some of that backlash and has slowly begun showing a bit more respect for the Fever god. Here's what Pierce had to say after Clark was left off the USA Olympic basketball team.
You want the women's game to grow, and then you keep the most popular girl in women's basketball off the team. How do you grow internationally and domestically if you don't put her on the U.S. team? It just makes the most sense. Sometimes you have to say, hey, you guys, this is bigger than the game, which it is. I mean, women's basketball is at an all-time high.
On the surface, his take sounds respectful, but if you break down the logic behind it, it becomes clear that Paul Pierce still isn't completely convinced about Caitlin Clark's basketball ability. Pierce suggested that Clark should have been included on the USA Olympic team because of the popularity and attention she brings to the sport. However, he also implied that Caitlin may not have earned a spot based purely on merit. Then again, Paul Pierce has built a reputation as one of the most provocative former NBA players turned sports commentators. Because of that, many of his opinions are often taken with caution, as he could simply be trying to stay relevant in today's crowded sports media landscape. Just when it seemed like the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark couldn't get any bigger, Shaquille O'Neal dropped a major bombshell during Angel Reese's podcast. Shaq didn't hold back while praising Caitlin Clark, even while sitting across from one of her most vocal critics. It was a shocking moment, an NBA legend openly defending Caitlin in one of the most unexpected places. His message was clear: Caitlin is something special, and even the toughest critics can't ignore her talent. Now get ready to hear it directly from the Big Diesel himself.
Hate her because, I'm down with shoes. Like, she's not going to hit that shot, and bam, like, damn, she's not going to hit that shot, man. Like, if I say 10 times you're not going to hit the shot and you hit the shot, that means you're the truth. So I'm telling you now, if you just lowered...
Missing the biggest sporting event of the year may have hurt Caitlin Clark on a personal level, but it might have actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise. At least that's what legendary NBA center Dwight Howard believes. The three-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year suggested at the time that Caitlin could use the break to sharpen her skills and come back even stronger in the second half of the season. Interestingly, that's exactly how things played out. Looking back now, Howard's comment feels almost prophetic, as Clark returned with renewed energy and continued to dominate on the court.
A great player, but it's a lot of players that, no lie, who, as far as basketball wise, they have the edge over her of why they should be playing in the Olympics right now. Mind you, this should motivate her. This should make her go harder in the gym.
Caitlin Clark looked much different since the Olympic break. And while we don't know exactly how much missing the Olympic team fueled her motivation, she clearly found her rhythm again. Traveling to Paris and potentially sitting on the bench for a stacked roster might have disrupted her momentum, and there was also the risk of injury that could have complicated her return. Dwight Howard saw an opportunity for Caitlin where others only saw disappointment and disrespect, and he believed a player of her talent was in the perfect position to use that situation as fuel and prove she belonged among the league's best. Still, with Caitlin Clark, it's always important to consider the bigger picture. Isaiah Thomas, a Hall of Fame point guard known for seeing the game from every angle, enjoyed a legendary career that included championships with the Detroit Pistons before moving into coaching and executive roles. When asked about Clark, Thomas offered a largely positive perspective, with just one small but interesting twist in his comments.
What she's done, and I think it's great what the media and the WNBA and marketing and the players are doing, because, controversy is not good, but,
Very smooth move by Isaiah Thomas, who managed to praise multiple perspectives while also hinting at the less glamorous side of the controversy surrounding Caitlin Clark. It's no secret that drama drives attention, and early criticism of Caitlin helped fuel media interest, something Thomas seems to recognize without fully diving into the debate. Meanwhile, Clark has earned strong grassroots support in Indianapolis, though she still doesn't yet match the legendary local affection reserved for past basketball icons. At the very top of that list sits sharpshooting legend Reggie Miller, who spent his entire 18-season career wearing the famous number 31 jersey. You might expect Miller to welcome Clark as a modern symbol of Indiana basketball, but instead he emphasized that every rookie must learn to face adversity and competition, implying that greatness is earned, not simply granted.
What's going to happen to her. Number one, I don't think it's jealousy. Oh my God, she's getting all the endorsements. We're going to go after her. You're playing at the highest level. You're playing in the WNBA. You're coming from college and you're going to the pro ranks, right? What did she expect was going to happen? Why are people so shocked? Right? You're playing against grown women.
Reggie Miller played in an older era of the NBA when physical play was common. And while his views on tough defense and hard fouls come from that experience, today's game operates under different standards. That said, Caitlin Clark is dealing with obstacles that go beyond normal competition. The hostility she has faced appears unnecessary. No one expected the league to roll out the red carpet, but the intensity of the backlash sometimes feels like an effort to diminish her success rather than simply challenge it. Her journey isn't only about earning respect. It's about standing firm and demanding fair treatment even when the odds seem stacked against her. Meanwhile, legendary point guard and five-time NBA champion Magic Johnson remains closely connected to the basketball world through his ownership role and has offered thoughtful insights into Caitlin's impact on the game, as well as the development of other young stars entering the league.
Caitlin, her teammates got to come to her defense.
Sure.
You can't allow her to have to fight every battle, right? But we have to understand that both Caitlin, Angel, and Rink, who plays for my Sparks, they made the WNBA better. And they're going to be tested by these incredible women who've been in the league for a long time. Caitlin is the most popular WNBA player, but she's not the best at this time. Just like Larry and I were not the best.
Interestingly, Magic Johnson drew a parallel between today's crop of young WNBA talent and his own legendary rivalry with Larry Bird, which helped revitalize the NBA in the late 70s and early 80s. Magic emphasized patience, noting that these young stars will need strong support from their teammates to overcome challenges and claim their place at the top of the sport. In his typical style, he offered praise broadly without getting dragged into the uglier sides of the debate. Still, his assessment of Caitlin Clark was very high, proof that even seasoned NBA veterans with interests in competing teams recognize her greatness. Anyone who remembers Magic from his playing days knows he was always classy and measured in public statements. That can't be said for one of his contemporaries, Charles Barkley, a physical player whose media interactions often mirrored the intensity of his battles for position in the paint. Now a media personality with even greater popularity than in his playing career, the 11-time All-Star and 2-time Olympic gold medalist has commented on Caitlin Clark and her WNBA journey multiple times. He has generally been supportive, as in this clip where he talks about how her shooting form evolved during the season.
I love about her, she never says a word. And now, when I watch her, two things I like. She's playing much faster. She was playing too slow the first half of the season.
From the college season.
They didn't even give her the understanding, like, you girls been worded for the WNBA season. Y'all been working out on the no-strip.
Fatigue may have played as much of a role in slowing Caitlin Clark early in the season as anything defenses were doing. As she regained energy, she showed more explosiveness, particularly in transition, which created additional scoring opportunities for both Clark and her teammates. That uptick in pace and production supports the idea that conditioning and the grind of a professional schedule can impact even elite talents. However, Charles Barkley also addressed how some WNBA players have treated Clark, and he didn't hold back in his criticism. Barkley's comments pointed directly at the negativity surrounding the rookie's experience, arguing that such hostility does more harm than good for the league and its growth.
Yo, petty, man. Hey, LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty girls. I expect men to be petty because we're the most insecure group in the world. Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bringing to the WNBA.
Humor aside, Charles Barkley has hit the nail on the head when it comes to the Caitlin Clark saga. Competition is one thing, but petty, malicious behavior is entirely different. And there have been moments when opponents seem to target Clark without any legitimate basketball reason. It makes sense to argue that other players should be appreciative of her talent rather than combative. But Barkley isn't stopping there. He's also pointing fingers at another group entirely, the opinion makers in the media, who have played a significant role in shaping the narrative around Clark, often fueling the negativity rather than celebrating her remarkable skill.
Not have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried. People believe what we say on television. Just because people don't like you or your personality, they can't get on TV and slander you. It's just total bullshit. This girl is incredible. The number of attention, eyeballs she's brought to college and the pros, and for these women to have this petty jealousness, you say to yourself,
you can't really blame Charles Barkley for feeling frustrated with what he sees as an injustice. The WNBA benefits enormously from the attention and revenue surrounding Caitlin Clark. Yet critics argue the league hasn't done enough to protect her on the floor or fully embrace her as a future face of the sport. Part of that hesitation may come from corporate caution. League decision makers often prefer to let a season unfold before crafting a long-term strategy around a rapidly rising star. Another part might stem from personal biases or media narratives that lean negative, and in a professional environment that simply shouldn't happen. Michael Jordan recently broke his silence on Clark, and his message was blunt. The WNBA owes her a debt for expanding interest in the game. Jordan also urged improvements in officiating, arguing that some calls and on-court treatment have been unfair. His comments underline a larger point. If the league wants to grow, it must both protect and celebrate its standout talent. Respect from players, officials, and the broader basketball community is essential. Meanwhile, comparisons between Clark and Stephen Curry continue to surface. Like Curry, Clark possesses a lightning-quick release and elite long-range shooting ability that forces defenses to account for her from anywhere on the court. But as Curry himself has noted, greatness goes beyond shooting. It requires playmaking, leadership, and the ability to elevate teammates, traits that define superstars. The fact that Curry has spoken positively about Clark only reinforces how impressive his skill set is. She may be labeled the female Steph, but the reality is that her own game stands on its merits. That level of respect from one of basketball's greatest shooters says a great deal about her potential and impact.
The confidence, the flair, like she's a performer. It's crazy though, just because her shot is like that, it's at that level. But if you really watch, like her floor game is as impressive. So it's kind of the total package. And her being the French breaking that record and the amount of attention that she has gained over the course of these last couple of years. Every building she goes into, there's a different energy. Like it's great for her.
Stephen Curry recently represented the NBA in a landmark three-point shootout against the WNBA, delivering a thrilling matchup that remained tight until the very end, with Steph narrowly taking the win. With the idea of NBA versus WNBA three-point contests now on the table, there's hope that Caitlin Clark might one day go head-to-head with her idol. While she hasn't joined the contest yet, she's open to the idea in the future. And you can bet fans everywhere are crossing their fingers. When it comes to evaluating Caitlin Clark, it's wise to focus on the opinions of NBA legends who have earned their stripes. Former MVP and NBA champion Kevin Garnett, known as the Big Ticket, has built a reputation as one of the hardest workers in basketball history. His toughness, competitiveness, and fearless attitude helped him overcome countless challenges during a 21-year NBA career. Garnett joined the league straight out of high school and quickly became a dominant force on both ends of the court, giving him a rare and valuable perspective on what it takes to become a true basketball star.
I go through shit. I'm watching all, man, rookies, you're going to go through some shit. And guess what? When you're in, when you got the bullseye on your back, when you win, it's going to come with some shit. And nobody's hitting y'all with the step back in the high. Yeah, it's a compliment.